มันนั่งอยู่ในห้องนั้นน่ะโอ้โห
ดูกล้องเพลิน
ปิงลงปิง
สวยเกือบดี
Op 4 last stop standing.
ตรงนี้หลังเสา
I like this game. Rainbow Six Siege. Rainbow Six Siege is a 5v5 multiplayer tactical shooter FPS game made by Ubisoft, released back in late 2015. The game is pretty fun. In Rainbow Six Siege, you'll be playing as an attacker or a defender for each round taking place in a siege. By definition, siege means the surrounding of a place by an armed force in order to defeat those defending it. The main game mode of Rainbow Six Siege is Bomb, where there's a bomb site in the building and the attackers need to plant the diffuser in the bomb site, while the defenders need to stop them defusing. This game mode is similar to Bomb in Counter-Strike or Valorant. There are also other two game modes, which are Secure Area, where the attackers need to stay in the objective for a certain period of time, and Hostage, where the attackers need to grab the hostage inside the building to a point outside. The map of this game is different to other tactical shooter games. Normally the sites will have the main entry route or the flank routes. Rainbow Six Siege's sites, however, have many entry points. The map is a building which has different floors and different rooms, so you could enter the site from pretty much anywhere, from normal doorway to windows or hatches. Now don't worry, defenders, because there's also more than one option for a site placement too. In a different room or in a different floor, so that the attackers need to know where the site is first before entering. Each round of this game has two phases. Preparation phase, or prep phase for short, that starts at the beginning of the round, and action phase that starts after the prep phase. When the prep phase starts, the attackers will have the control of drones that could be used as an observation tool for scouting the area and gathering intel, such as knowing where the site is, how the defenders set up the site, what operators do the defenders picked, etc. While the defenders set up the site to make sure it is secure, for not letting any attackers entering. Defenders also have an observation tool, which are cameras around the building. After 45 seconds of prep phase ends, it's time for action phase. The attackers need to complete the objective, while defenders need to stop attackers from doing so. Rainbow Six Siege has a lot of operators to choose from. Every operator in this game has a different gun loadout and different gadgets. Attackers and defenders will have different gadgets to each other, for a different approach for both sides. If there's a soft wall, for example, attackers could use a breaching charge to open up the wall. Aside from normal gadgets, each operators have their own unique gadgets as well, which makes them fall into their specific role, like a guy with just sledgehammer for breaching a wall, running flashy shield guy, and an operator who has secret cameras that can be put all around the building. Siege is a tactical shooter. That means normally you couldn't just go run and gunning everywhere. I mean, that doesn't mean you could, but it only works with some situations. That situation being the enemy can aim. It's best to think of a plan of some sorts, like a true tactical shooter. It sounds like an average tactical shooter game nowadays, but what I think that makes this game stands out is its layers of strategies. What I mean about that? Let me explain. In Siege, walls and floors are completely breakable. This opens up tons of gameplay strategies. That's one of the main reasons I like this game. Why do you need a good aim when you have a good brain, you know? After you watched me telling what the game mechanics are, you're probably thinking that this game must be so hard. Well, because it is. Imagine this. You just bought the game because it seemed interesting. You booted up the game, you play your first match, maybe you play as an attacker, and boom! A whole lot of stuff just splashed through your screen, and you don't even know what to do. So you just thought you could just run around and kill some people, but when you got into the building, you just die. If you're unlucky, however, you'd be dead even when you just walked for like 1 second, because the enemy were looking at your spawn point through the window. Like, how am I supposed to know that? Playing as a defender is also confusing when you play it for the first time. One of my friends just started playing this game recently, and he just said the enemies just appeared out of nowhere because I don't even know where they're supposed to be. Alright, I might exaggerate it a little, but when you're a beginner, it is really confusing to play because it's kinda hard to learn. Ubisoft had seen this issue and tried to fix it by giving the short instruction videos of the operator's gadget. So maybe it's easier now than back then. But you can't deny that Rainbow Six Siege might need a longer time to learn. I don't see this as an issue, by the way. I like that this game has a high skill ceiling and a lot of stuff to learn. Because when you know about it and execute it in just the right way, you'll get a really satisfying result.
โอ้โหจะได้ทำมันเล่น
เฮ้ย
วัดเย้ซึมตึมเย้
The state of the game right now is quite questionable. The game is still updating to this day under the fact that this game is 8 years old now, and the game content is still kinda exciting. The latest season at the time of writing is Operation Dread Factor. Still has a lot of content to play. But if you've been playing this game before, you'd know that the state of game has been some sort of a roller coaster. The game went through a lot of changes over the past 9 years. It changed so much that the game back then looks like a different game compared to what we have now. Let's do a quick rundown comparison, starting off with the lighting. Here's what the game's lighting change looks like in comparison. As you can see, lighting in this game used to be really dark and gritty. One example would be when you look outside the window in the building back then. The outside's light would be too bright that you couldn't see the opponent properly. Another change that is most memorable to many is the gameplay changes. The most notable ones that have been changed are the quick peeking, the shooting, and the move speed while aiming. This is to make the game's pacing to be slower rather than fast-paced, which is a little controversial, but it makes the game more tactical rather than just, shooting. The operators, the weapons, the maps, the lore, even the UI got changed a lot. I'm going to skip the lore details because that would be too boring and too long for this video. For operators, the notable ones being Tachanka for his rework, RIP my lord, Blackbeard from OP shield to basically a plastic shield, Capcan being able to put multiple traps on the same door frame, Frost Trap nerf, shield rework, gun optics rework, and of course, Yana victory pose nerf. The maps that got reworked are Favela, Outback, Border, Bank, Chalet, Consulate, Clubhouse, Hereford Brace, Oregon, Theme Park, Skyscraper, Canal, Cafe Dostoyevsky, Cafe, Coastline, and House. Did you catch all that? No? We'll have this list instead. The main reason why they reworked these maps is because of balancing issues, and some of the maps are obsolete for the current game. Oh, and the UI? I hate the new UI, man. Just bring the old UI, please. I want the old UI. Please. Ubisoft, please. Like most AAA games nowadays, Rainbow Six Siege suffered through a lot of bugs at launch. However, the bugs are becoming less prominent throughout the patches and are now much less noticeable than before. Although the servers wouldn't work properly at times, like one time I got connected to a match in West US while I was in Southeast Asia. Those problems affected the game pretty negatively, obviously, but there is a bigger issue than that, and that is the cheaters. The cheaters epidemic is a big problem and has been occurring for quite some time now. Ubisoft had taken notice of this as they tried to tackle the issue, such as the mousetrap on console, which prevent players from using mouse and keyboard on console, which from what I heard worked very effectively. And now they are trying to improve the anti-cheat system with deep learning AI stuff, which is good, but only time will tell how effective it will be. Right now, the cheating problems still persist, most commonly on higher competitive ranks. We can only hope that it would be fixed sometime soon. There are still a handful of underlying problems, but these are some of more minor ones. Like the single player game modes are quite bland and boring right now. The change of lore in the game makes the developers change the single player game mode to fit in with the story right now. So bye bye T-Hunt, bye bye Situations, I'm gonna miss you guys. Right now it only consists of training modes, which helps with learning the game a lot. But I like the old game modes more. It just makes the game more immersive, but it is what it is. I got into the game because I saw my friends were playing it and talking about it all the time. So in June 13th, 2020, I decided to buy the game and give it a try. My first impression of the game is when the game booted up. The cool shirt stitching intro, and the game's current season at the time's Operation Avoid Edge menu screen disappeared, and it's just so cool. They got rid of that, by the way. I don't even know why they did that. My friend taught me how to play the game before I actually played it, by the way, and my reaction was, wow, there's a lot to remember. That is a fact, but when things started to get more and more fun, when I played the game more frequently, I got my first ace, and I know how to deal with shield operators, I know how to deal with roamers and spawn peekers, actually those two I still lose, but I find a lot of strategies to play. Whether that's the actually smart 300 IQ play, or the more dumb one like picking all shield characters, which actually works, by the way. Now clocking in at 700 hours playing this game. I can definitely say that this is one of the best tactical shooter games I've ever played. Because I only played one game, but it is actually good. It's a good game. I like how the game is not only about big shooting, but real big thinking as well. That is what makes Rainbow Six Siege so fun to play. Okay, quick note here. The player count of this game just reached its peak recently, and I'm really happy for it. Big thanks to the big streamers like Jinxie and Moist Critical, who really helped the game came back to its peak. Okay, I'm gonna go back to playing Rainbow Six Siege now. If I said something wrong or forgot to add something, let me know down in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching.